Hello and welcome to yet another Outwardly experience. Today we'll be talking about text labels, markers, and code shapes. So text label is basically something that is in-game in the 3D space and you can look at it like it's not on your screen, it's inside the game in a 3D space. A marker, same thing in a 3D space, but instead it's a shape. Instead of a text, which is a text label, it is a shape. And cold shape is basically some sort of a checkpoint, you can say. A cold shape cannot be visible, so that is why we use cold shape and markers combined, so that if there is some sort of visible something, like the markers makes it the visible for the player, and the cold shape we use so that it triggers some sort of a server event when we enter the cold shape and the marker. And text label, well, that is completely optional. You can use it or you cannot. So we will make something like create checkpoint or something. So let me make a command, and we will name this create OK string create. Let's just call it CP, a public callback. So public void cmd create CP, and the parameter will be client player, the player who is using the command create CP. So what we need are three things for now. First, we will make the marker. So napi dot marker dot create marker, and all the parameters that you need for this function are these. First is uint, unassigned int, and the marker type. So the type of markers that could be there are these. Int, I mean 0 is this upside down arrow, this vertical cylinder is 1, so on and so forth. It's in the Rage wiki, gtanet.work. I'll give the link in the description, don't worry. So let's use this. Marker type dot, we will use an upside, now let me check. We will use a thin chevron up, okay? Thin chevron up. Next we need position. So the position would be the player's position. So player dot position, and we will make it so that it is a little bit higher than the player's position. So new vector 3, we will add whatever the position for the player is and increase the value of z. XYZ, z is the height, so we will increase the height 0 0, and let's increase it by, let's say, 1. Nothing more, nothing less. So the player position, we will add that with a new vector, and the z will be 1, so that it increases the position z value by 1. Now the next things that we need, position is done. Now we need a direction. We just make it nil vector 3. Then we need rotation, direction. Okay, now we need rotation. So again, nothing major, just nil vector 3. Scale, let's put the scale to 1.0f, the size of the marker. So 1 is more than enough. Now we have color, so we will use a new color object and I'll use a red type of marker. So 255, 0, 0, and 255. This is the red component, green component, and the blue component. This is the alpha, which is the transparency component. If you set it to 255, it will be completely opaque. If it's 0, then it will be completely transparent. Then we have, after color, we have bob up and down. I'll just leave that to the default value. Now after the marker, we will create a text label. So napi dot text label dot create text label, and the parameters for text label is, first one is a string. What string should be written over there? So I'll just write over here, fix your vehicle. Then we have the position. So again, we will use the player's position. So player dot position. Next, we have the range, like how far should the text label be visible. We will use 20, and that's far enough. The size, we'll just use 1. The font, now to know which font you need to use, these are the fonts. 0 is Charlotte London, and I prefer this one over the rest because the rest I really cannot understand. Then there's house script, monospace, and more stuff. I'll use Charlotte London, so 0. Then we have color. Since we have made the marker as red, I'll give the text label a blue color. New color and 0, 0, 255, 255. And the rest can be the default value. The entity see-through, I'll make that as true. It needs to be see-through. And the dimension, I'll keep it the global dimension. Anyways, if you want to know what the global dimension is, it's napi.global dimension. But if you don't write it, it'll give the default value of the global dimension. Now that we have the text label and the marker, the last thing that we need is a call space. So napi dot cold shape, not cold space, my bad. Create a circle, 2D cold shape, 3D cold shape, cylinder cold shape, and a sphere cold shape. A 2D cold shape is basically an x and y coordinate. So if you're in that space of the x and y and your height, the z coordinate, it could be anywhere. You could be 5,000 feet above sea level. You could be at the exact point of the marker. You can be below the sea level and it'll still trigger. The 3D is, it has a height as well. So let's say if you're flying a plane way up above in the sky, you won't be able to trigger a cold shape which is on the ground. Only a vehicle or the player could do it. So I'll make a cylindrical cold shape because it's 3D and it fits my what? Fits my need. Now vector position. So we will use the player's position again. So player.position. Then we have range. I'll keep the range to the range which we had for the marker. The scale was 1 over here. You can see it's 1. So I'll keep the range as 1, 1.0 f. Then we have the height. I'll keep it 1.0 f. And the dimension, you can use napi.global dimension, or you could keep it the default value so that every player in whichever dimension they are, dimension is basically virtual world, they can see that. Or, well, you cannot see the cold shape, they will be able to trigger that cold shape. Now that we have created these 3 entities, we will create a server event for the collision shape. So server event dot player call enter call shape. Now a public callback, so public void on enter call shape. The parameters for player enter call shape is the shape itself, so call shape, and the client player, so client player. If a player enters the call shape, what should happen? Let's say for now, we will send them a chat message. So player.send chat message, you entered a collision shape. There we go. So that is the basic gist, complete basic thing about markers, text labels, and call shape. So now I'll show you, demonstrate this in game. Okay, so my game mode has almost loaded. There we go. Again. Now we will create that, use that command. So create cp, and there you go. This is how it will look. If I go outside the collision, that marker, and again go inside, it should see it sent a chat that I entered a collision shape. So that is how the event on player enter collision shape works. So that's about it for today. In the next video, we will be learning how to create a vehicle fixing point using text label, marker, and collision shape. Until then, peace out.